MLAs for putting your support behind us. It's just amazing. When I got the news, the bearer of the news will tell you that there were a few tears on the phone when that happened. So I want to thank you very much. I can hear the backhoes. You can hear the backhoes? Yeah, I think I can hear the backhoes. Must be getting close. In the darkest days of this campaign, when we were trying to get a foothold to make the climb to the 80%, a young lady was making her own climb, or shall we say a slide. But in the midst of an intense time of her life, she thought of others, or thought about her struggles to build a house in central Alberta. As an amateur athlete, she dug into her pocket that many times had been close to empty and found $2,000 to add to the house. A true symbol of what ordinary community members have seen, because they all get it. We need to help families with sick children, because you don't know when that could be you. Melissa Hollingsworth, could you please come up here and share some time with us?
Thank you for the nice introduction, Lynn. Makes me emotional. Obviously, we're all here today because it's such an amazing cause, and I am very honored to be a part of the groundbreaking celebration for Central Alberta's Ronald McDonald House. This facility has a special place in my heart. When I was growing up and chasing my goals and dreams with sports that eventually led me to my passion of skeleton, I was so fortunate to have my health and most importantly, my family by my side, right there supporting me and cheering me on and along on those long road trips to every basketball game, volleyball game, and track and field meet. One of those faithful fans was my cousin, Sneal Dearland, who was born with cerebral palsy. Sneal had to undergo numerous surgeries when she was young, and I can't imagine the pain and the suffering and the difficulty that she went through. But she was fortunate enough to stay at the Ronald McDonald House for 1 month in Calgary. And speaking with my Auntie Ange, she told me how the experience of the Ronald McDonald House helped with the traumatic period in their life, interacting with other families who understood what they were dealing with, and also being support for other families made them stronger and have a greater appreciation for every moment that we have on this earth. When I share my story about my Olympic journey over the last 15 years, I talk about facing adversity. When I was 15 years old, I took up this adrenaline-filled sport of skeleton where we were rushing down a sheet of ice at 140 kilometers an hour with my chin just this far from the ice. And 3 months later, I won the Canadian Championships. And this sparked my Olympic dream. Women's skeleton was about to make its Olympic debut in 2002 in Salt Lake City, and I had just won a silver medal at the World Championships, so everything was going according to my plan to earn that almighty title of being an Olympian. 3 weeks prior to those Olympic Games, it came down to the last World Cup race where myself and my best friend still to this day, Lindsay Elcock, her and I were racing off for that final spot to represent Canada, and she beat me out. So I wouldn't be representing Canada at those games, and I thought my world had shattered. 7 years I had dedicated my life to that dream, and it all ended within 2 minutes on the track in Switzerland. I thought about giving up, but instead I surrounded myself with the people who believed in me and that would help me win a medal at Olympic Games for Canada. 4 years later, in 2006, I was heading into my very first Olympic Games, and I was ranked #1 in the world as a slider, and there were 7 World Cups that year. I won 7 World Cup medals, and adding to my collection, I won Canada's very first Olympic medal in skeleton. In 2008, we started sliding on the Whistler Olympic track, and we soon learned that Canada would be home to the fastest track in the entire world, where we're approaching speeds of 145 kilometers an hour. In 14 years of my sliding career, I had only had 2 crashes. And then I met the Whistler track. And I don't know how many crashes I've now had. And this includes a training camp where my coaches actually pulled me from in March of 2009 because I had a concussion, a broken sled, and stitches in my face. Not gonna lie, I spent a summer of being scared going back to Whistler for this last fall. But working hard and having the right support team from coaches, teammates, and my family around me allowed me to persevere through a difficult summer where I lacked confidence. And I was able to get back on that Whistler track in the fall and put all my fears behind me, and I was ready to go fast. I had a great season this last year, and I soon found myself in the exact same position that I was in 4 years ago, ranked number 1 in the world, heading into my second Olympic Games in the Olympic gold medal favorite. We get 6 runs before you do your race on any race, World Cup race or Olympic race. And I couldn't have asked my Olympic training to go any better. Out of those 6 runs, 5 of them I was ranked first. So I felt confident and ready. My Olympic race, well, it's 4 heats over 2 days. It's combined time. Whoever's the fastest wins. My Olympic race was full of challenges, which required me to stay focused, and I made sure I did not give up. I was heading into that 4th and final run, and I was sitting in the silver medal position, and I was standing on that block, and I always wondered what it would be like. This is what I had trained for 15 years. What would it be like to stand on that block and chase after an Olympic gold medal? How would I feel? And I felt ready. I was so confident. It was unbelievable as I was standing on that block and listening to the crowd go wild. I couldn't even hear the announcer clear the track for me. I had to focus on that light, the red light going from a green. And I knew all that I needed to do to put myself in an Olympic gold medal contention was believe and put all of my heart into it. And that's exactly what I did. When I was standing on that block, I cleared the track, I put my sled down, I grabbed my sled, and I said to myself, my heart. I wasn't going to be happy if I played it safe and hung onto a silver medal. I wanted that gold medal. I preloaded, pulled my sled back, I said my heart, and I exploded off that block, and little did I know how good that push was, but it was a number 1 ranked start. I'd never had a number 1 rank before in my entire career. So I navigated myself down the rest of the track, and as you all saw on TV, I just missed the one line coming out of 6 into 7 where I hit the wall, and that's how far I was off my line. I missed the entry. I had a late entry, big oscillation. When I was coming out, there was so much pressure that when it released, there was nowhere for me to go other than to hit that wall. And I felt the speed. I felt it slow down, but I wasn't going to give up. I knew that track better than everybody else. I was going to keep going, my plan of attack. When I came up the outrun and I saw a number 4 on the scoreboard, I accepted it. And it was very difficult. I was crushed. But it was really important that I grabbed my flag and I showed all of Canada how proud I was to be Canadian and how much honor I had in that privilege to represent Canada at the Olympic Games. I went into the finish house. I was sitting there, I was stunned what had taken place. I'm listening to the flower ceremony go on outside, and they're announcing the women's names up on the podium, and I know that my name is supposed to be called. It's a nightmare. This must be a do-over. And I asked my coach what my start time was. He said it was a 4:93, which I know that doesn't mean anything to you guys, but it's the second fastest time in all of history on that track. I was a number 1 start. That's exactly what I've worked for 15 years, every day in the gym, all the sacrifices, time away from my family. For once in my career, I was number 1. That's when the tears started, because I knew that I did it. When I was in the finish house, in my weakest moment, my most brittle moment, my parents were by my side, and we just cried. They were there, and that's exactly what I needed. And that's why I'm such a big supporter of the Ronald McDonald House, because these kids are fighting the biggest battles of their life. And having their families right there beside them to support them will make them stronger, and they will persevere, and they'll go on to live big dreams and live out all of their dreams. My cousin Tennille was trackside when I won an Olympic medal for Canada in Italy. And she was trackside when she saw my Olympic gold medal dreams shatter in Whistler. With her strength and positivity, she inspires me every day to want to be a better person and to be a stronger athlete. So I sure hope she'll make that trek to Sochi in 2014 because I have some unfinished business to attend to.